Welcome to the Your Fitness Chick podcast. Become your best self. I'm your host, Abby Smiley-Krause. I am a personal trainer, a wellness enthusiast, and I'm not gonna lie, a certified dog-obsessed human. This isn't just another fitness podcast. It's your wake-up call to level up your life. In this podcast, I'll be diving into everything from crushing your workouts to shifting your mindset, because being your best self isn't just about lifting weights. It's about lifting your life. Whether you're here to get fit, find inspiration, or just stop settling for an average life, you're in the right place. We're talking about tapping into your full potential, expanding your horizons, and building a life so good you'll wonder why you didn't start sooner. So let's lace up, show up, and start making things happen. This isn't just a podcast. It's your permission slip to dream big, work hard, and create the life you've always wanted. Join me here every Tuesday for a fresh episode. Most people don't lack time. They lack intention. Welcome back to the Your Fitness Chick podcast. Become your best self. I'm Abby, your fitness chick, and today I am super excited because I have a very, very special guest. And when I read you his background, it sounds like he's already lived like 10 lifetimes. So I'm excited to have Dwight Dunagan on the show, and he's done so much I had to make some notes to introduce him properly. So Dwight has had a career that spans the military, law enforcement, healthcare leadership, and private therapy. He's a U.S. Army veteran, so grateful for your service.
Thank you.
A decorated former detective, and now the executive VP at, I don't know if I'm saying this right, Epinal Inc.? Epinal Inc. Okay, I didn't know if I should sound it out like spinal.
It almost sounds like ethanol, like gas.
Right, okay. Epinal Inc., helping transform mental health and senior care services. With a doctorate in psychology and a lifelong passion for mentoring, Dwight's true mission is helping others thrive. So, Dwight, welcome. I'm so thrilled to have you here.
Thank you, Abby. It's a pleasure to be here.
And that was a really short summary. It's funny because you had sent me your bio, and I know you had a company do it for you, because it sometimes can become a challenge when you're talking about yourself, because, you've worked hard and you want to make sure that, people know you're credible, but there's also where your ego goes, oh, is that a little too much? And so you had a company that actually wrote your background, and you sent it to me, and I was at a stoplight when I was reading it from the email, and I was like, holy goodness, this guy's incredible. So I'm like, wow, I'm even more excited to have you on the show.
You nailed it. It's so true. What I sent them originally, this publication company, so Epinal hired a group, right? I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but when they hired this group, they said, send me everything you've done. I sent them 6 bullet points. And the girl sent me a thing back saying, based on what I'm reading, there's a lot more to this. You got to give me some context. So she got like 4 more bullet points. Then we had a phone call, and it turned into like a page and a half. And I'm like, geez, okay, well, I guess that's the bio.
But you left out winning the 2nd grade spelling bee, so.
It's really hard. Like you said, it's really hard to talk about yourself. I don't look back on things I've done and go, oh yeah, let me tell people about this. It's just part of what I did, and what I am doing. So it is a challenge.
Well, you've done so much, and you should be super proud of yourself, because, accomplishing that much in one lifetime is pretty incredible. I think we're all put on this earth to serve a purpose, and it definitely sounds like you're stepping up to the plate and serving them all. So I think that's incredible.
Thank you.
So you had thrown me some ideas. I had thrown you some ideas about, my gosh, there's so much we could talk about. You have such huge arena here, but we decided to zone in on talking about being intentional.
Yes.
So as I said at the very beginning of the opening, saying that people don't lack time, they lack intention. So let's dial in right now and talk about, how do you define being intentional, and what does it actually mean in practical terms?
Choices. There's so many books, Abby, out there about how to make choices. There's an amazing book called Power of Intention. And I am a psychologist. I've had a private practice for a long time, and intermittently that has ramped up or slowed down as I've needed it. But I have recommended the Power of Intention book by Dwayne Dyer to so many people. It's a launch point. It's not the fix all. It's certainly not going to change your life on its own, but it's a launch point for people. But to synopsize such an awesome book, it comes down to choices. And if we start our life by owning 100%, or start our life, excuse me, that doesn't sound right. If we start our day by owning 100% of our choices, we find ourselves being far more intentional, because you don't want to make a choice without some kind of thought, right? And if you do, maybe it's a more impulsive choice that often comes with repercussions. So it really comes down to choices.
I absolutely agree. And I absolutely love that book. Wayne Dyer was truly one of my most favorite inspirational people, and I have so many of his books, so many of his old school CDs that I used to listen to when I was a road
Me too.
warrior with my previous career. That this was before they had podcasts on Audible and YouTube and stuff like that. But he's truly amazing. So yeah, we all have those choices. And I think there's two different directions that we could go with this. That, yeah, we have to think about the consequences of the choices that we make. But also, I think a lot of people stay stuck holding on to choices because they're afraid they're making the wrong one.
Hmm.
And then they make zero movement.
Yep.
Would you agree with that?
It's all you and I have offline joked about this in some of our commentary with each other to get to this show. Yes, it's so well put. You know, when you talk to somebody that wants to get fit, talking to the fitness chick, okay,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's just drive to the gym. Just get in the car and drive there. If you have gotten ready and driven there and you're in the parking lot, you're more likely to go, right? So, when I've worked with clients that said, gosh, I have been the VP of this position for so long, or don't even put it that high. Hey, I have been a manager. I have been a manager. I'm the best manager. My guys respect me. My employees love me, blah, blah, blah. I can't seem to break this shell. Well, is it you making the shell, or is it the company? If it's the company, then maybe it's time for you to take those skills and try them elsewhere. If it's you, why is it you? Right? And it's scary. Bottom line, a lot of people don't make choices because of an internal fear. That internal fear, we can talk about fear and anger metrics if we get there today, but internal fear often accompanies anger, and vice versa. Anger accompanies fear. And
Mm-hmm.
it's interesting how humans relate that, how we all relate that in our life. We can be afraid to make a choice and therefore become angry, bitter, all these things. And again, we could go down these trails all day, but that's kind of my take on it.
But it's at yourself because you're built for something more, right?
If we can get a person to realize it is in themselves,
Right.
if we're not transferring that to the world at large, right?
Right. Yeah. And I think so many people too. I mean, let's just face it, the world's pretty hard.
Yeah.
And people are extremely judgmental, and that includes people that are in your close circle, your friends and your family. And I think that, again, there's so many different directions we could go with this. But when people have those self-limiting beliefs, like you were saying, there's a glass ceiling sometimes where you're working, and sometimes there's not. So it's that limited belief that people have in themselves, and also a feeling of self-worth to feel like, am I deserving to even achieve that higher level?
Yeah.
So I think, as you mentioned, it's about just taking that first step. So getting your freaking gym clothes on, getting in the car, driving to the gym. If fitness is something that obviously I focus on, that is a hurdle for you, it's making
Hmm.
that first step and initiating that first spark and intentionally setting yourself up for success to reach your goal, right?
Yeah.
So when we're talking about being intentional, what are some ways because maybe people think they're living intentionally, but they're actually not. So what are some ways that people can do a self-check right now, how they can assess if they're living reactively versus intentionally?
You just make me smile with that question. It's great. I coach a football team for one of my kids, and I lead a team of engineers and scientists at Epinal. And I have this dichotomy in my life. I've got junior hires learning how to play football, and I've got scientists,
Oh
right?
my, what a
Okay.
mix.
So when you say, hey, what's a gut check somebody can do today? I think it starts with this is going to sound a bit silly, but work with me. It starts with what you do when you first wake up, where you put your feet, and what you decide to do, right? And I have a really big soapbox on this, and I'll make it very brief, I promise, just being
Yeah.
respectful of time. But for
Yeah.
all the listeners out there, people that may watch this, look, I think it's like this. Put your feet down, have a set morning routine, be intentional with that routine. If it's in your mindset to meditate, meditate. If you're a prayer person, pray. Put your feet down, exercise some form of gratitude as soon as you start your day. This is before you get out of bed. This is before you do check your emails or your calendar or whatever you do. Be intentional in that moment. And I found over years of practicing this and working with hundreds of clients, if you were to be intentional with gratitude first thing in the morning, I am grateful for this, right? By the time you start walking from getting up, by the time you have that morning coffee or your routine begins, you are already positioned yourself. You've already positioned for a great day. You have positive energy in your mind, right? So a gut check for you is what is the first thing you put in front of your eyes? What's the first thing you do with your body, right? We don't often
Absolutely.
talk about this in society, and I promise I'll wrap this very quickly, but
No, I love this part.
first thing you see, first thing you choose to put in front of your eyes. If you turn on the news, you're going to get the world banter of all the nonsense, right? If you wake up and roll over to social media, you're getting somebody else's opinion, and that's what it is, guys. It's an opinion, right? So what are you feeding yourself by choice? Slow
Mm.
down, start with gratitude, and that will set the tone for your day. To answer your question in another way, the other way to kind of gut check yourself is, what are you consuming today? We don't have to make this about food. We can make it about food, but simply put, ask yourself a question. What am I consuming today? Am I online shopping? Did I spend 45 minutes on Facebook? Did I eat 3 times fast food today because I was too busy? What are you consuming? These are the
Yeah.
gut check questions. How did I start my day, and what am I consuming?
Yeah, I think those are such great points. And, the thing that I realized is that, about 5, 6 years ago, I was not a good place. Like, I could have really used you. I'm like, oh my God, this guy is
Oh,
like this guy could have helped me. I was in a rough place. But it's so true. Everything that you're saying, I have turned to the complete opposite because I was addicted to social media. I was on it hours, which a lot of people I know are. I
mhm.
was watching the news, which I don't even watch the news now. If the world's ending, I'm going to be the last to know. And I kind of like it that way. And my whole life just kind of followed that suit because before I even got out of bed, I was programming my mind with junk. I was dreading the day because I was in such a bad place in my life. And I think people also have to finally get to the point where they realize, some people have been dealt rougher hands than other people.
Yes.
Everybody in this entire life is not going to escape any kind of trauma, disasters, heartbreak, upsets, disappointments. That's just life. But I think so many people get in their own way. And instead of realizing that was not a good chapter, I did not like that. But what can I learn from this? What can I do from it? And how can I change it? Because I don't want to stay like this forever. And so, coming back to what you said about talking about gratitude, is I had a traumatic event happen about 3 years ago to me. And it was a
Mm.
pivot point for me. And it was where I even became closer to God because I am religious, but I consider myself more spiritual. I wouldn't call myself a Bible quoter or anything like that. But I definitely think that in the past couple of years with my dad's passing and this traumatic
Mm.
event, that this relationship with God's become an anchor for me. And so every day when my alarm goes off, before I even get out of bed, I say out loud, and I've been doing this every single day for nearly 3 years. I say, thank you, God, for waking me up today. That was really nice of you. another day to be freaking awesome. And I go,
I
let's do
love
this. I say, let's do this. Cause my two dogs are like, are we going to go out to pee now? So
that.
I say that, and some people might be rolling their eyes at that. And
No,
I'm okay with that. But I'm going to tell you, it's like one step at a time, and it's stacking habits, and one thing leads to another positive reaction, and one choice leads to another positive choice, and it can go the same way but in the opposite direction, right?
absolutely. And I'm sorry for the loss of your dad, and I know just a little bit about that from things that you've shared socially. But
Yeah.
uh, Abby, I can you just sparked a memory, if I may. I was
Yes,
sitting on a
please.
plane traveling for work last year, end of last year, and there was a lady reading Atomic Habits.
Oh, I love
Okay.
that book.
Okay, I'm so glad. Okay, but this is going to be funny. I'm going to dig it a little bit. Okay,
Okay.
I've read it too. So she was reading Atomic Habits, and in her bag, she went to go put it away. We were on a very long flight, right? So you kind of get to know your people. If you're 10 hours next to somebody, you kind of become at least flight mates. Okay.
Right.
And I had a gentleman to my side that had never read it. So we started a dialogue about Atomic Habits. At some point, she pulls out the book Traction. And I said, "Oh man, you must work for a leadership development company or something, right?" So she kind of talks about what she does. She works in healthcare, so of course I had a lot to talk about, right? Um, but she made a comment, and it stuck with me. And then this is what I said back. So her comment was, "I feel like I don't get the point of a lot of these books. I highlight stuff and I take some notes, and I feel like each of these books gives me a couple of nuggets, but I maybe I'm missing the practical application piece." And that stung me in a good way, right? I was like, oh, how do I not pounce on this person conversation, right? Like, how do I? So I slowed down, thought about who I was talking to. We're just flight people, right? So I said, look, let me offer you something to think about. You said it, it got me thinking. I said, the world can be traumatic, it can be dark, it can be fun, it can be brilliant. All can be true. These books are written by people that have figured out a code that works for them. And
Mm,
they have worked it so much with so many people that have also had success, and they were probably prompted to write that book. But you're
mm,
reading somebody's journey manifested into page,
mm.
right? So for you to take something away without having had a class with them or know them personally, it would be like me giving you my manuscript about how I work with my clients and you never meeting me. You're
Mm,
going to see some things you like, but that's it, right?
mm, mm,
I said, the reality is all of these books are teaching you about discipline, choices, intentionality, and behaviors.
mm.
They're asking you to make growth, not think of change. And she was like, "Oh my gosh, can my company hire you?" Da, 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 da. And I was like, "No, no, 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 no. That's not what I'm trying to do here at all." But it is. It's about growth. I think what stops a lot of people when they have a traumatic event is they start, depending upon what the event was, of course, and being very respectful to everybody's journey out there. We start thinking, do I need to change? How do I change? This has already changed me.
Mm.
Okay. Change can be a powerful word, and that's not a bad word even in psychology, but growth has more legs. Growth
Yes.
will get you farther, right?
Mm.
From a fitness perspective in your world as much as in the psych world for me. So
Yeah.
you hit a point for me and I wanted to jump on that.
Yeah, I love that. I also think, though, too, to expand on it just a little further, that, they say when the student's ready, the teacher shows up. That sometimes, depending upon what chapter of your life you're in, maybe sometimes you're not ready to receive the lesson.
Oh yeah.
So, because my favorite book of all time is Seed of the Soul by Gary Zukov. And it's one of those books. Again, I'm old school. I like to hold a book. I like
Hmm.
Audible books, but I like to highlight, underline. And this was a book that by the time I finished it, I like underlined and highlighted the whole book. I was like, oh, okay. Because it was at the exact moment in my life that I needed that book.
Mm,
Now, I could hand that same book to a friend who would be like, I totally didn't get that book. Like, that didn't spark
hmm.
anything with me. I could hardly get myself through it. So I think that we have to take what resonates with us, like you said, leave what doesn't. But I think also sometimes it's just not the right time in your life, or maybe it's not the right book with the right lesson. It's a lesson for somebody else and not for you.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
So, I think, growth and self-growth and intention, the power of intention, habits, mindset shifting, discipline, motivation, inspiration, all of these things have been around obviously forever, but they are such buzzwords right now, because I think that there's so many people that are hurting and that are so scared about the judgment and perception of other people for the dark times in their life, for chapters that we don't want read out loud, that they're trying to gravitate to these types of resources, to these types of books, to therapy, to anybody who can smile or give them a positive thought for the day to try to get them out of a dark spot if that's where they are. That I just feel so happy and grateful that so many people like yourself and books are becoming available to help people who maybe they can't afford therapy or they want to cope in private.
Oh yeah.
So it's pretty amazing that people can do that too, especially with, you can Google anything right now. Like, how do I get myself out of a dark spot? And it's going to chat GPT, tell me what to do with my life, So I think, there are resources, but at the end of the day, people do have to take the action and do the work so that they can achieve the growth.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thousands of years of principle has proven that. Every culture has had that knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
We just sometimes seem to want to reinvent it.
Like weight loss. It's the same thing. Everybody wants it right away. Like, this book better change my life. If I read this book or this diet, if I do this diet, I better look like Beyonce by next June. It's just, there's no healing, transformation, any kind of growth / change or intentionality. It does not happen overnight.
Yep.
It takes time.
You're speaking of dreams to goals and knowledge to wisdom, right? A dream, you can have 100 dreams. If you don't
Mm-hmm.
apply a structure to it and a timeline, it's not going to turn into a goal and it won't be realized, right? I always tell people, and I didn't coin this phrase, I regurgitate this, but wisdom is the application of knowledge. You can read 100 books, but if you don't apply what you learn from it, you're not going to turn wise. You're just
Not
a
one
smart
bit.
person.
Not one bit. And I kind of mentioned that a little bit in the post I did on my Your Fitness Chick group page today. It's like, you can follow all the right people, you can read all the right books. This is exactly what I said. But if you don't take action, you're choosing to stay exactly where you are.
Yes.
You can sign up for all these workshops and go to all these great things and get your rah-rah on, which that's great. And you should do that. But at the end of it all, if you're going home with your goodie bag that has all the information for you to take the next step and you're shoving it in your closet,
all the
you're
time.
going to be in the same place next year.
Yep. All the time that happens.
Yeah. I've done it. I know. That's why I'm being able to speak this so clearly, right? Because I used to do that. Like, that's really great. Like, peace out, Oprah. Like, and then I went to a big Oprah thing years ago, and it was Oprah, Deepak Chopra.
Oh, wow.
Was it Melissa Gilbert? No, not Melissa Gilbert. It's the girl who wrote Eat, Pray, Love.
Oh, wow.
It was a really dynamic, powerful weekend, but I wasn't ready to line it up then. So I was really excited about it, but I still have the book and stuff, but I wasn't ready to get to that point. But so, speaking of that, have you ever been at a point in your life, and if you have, I want you to share it with us, when you realized that you weren't being intentional, and what changed as a result of that?
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. We could do a few stories. I'll get a little personal on this one. I think it's kind of neat to open this door, kind of put things out there. That's what this is for, right? There's a lot of people, I don't want to make this overly gender specific. I'm just going to speak this from the fact of who I am. Okay.
Please.
I know a lot of men in my circle that don't ask for help. They don't want to look weak or needy. Okay. I was in a pretty bad relationship. I had made some bad choices, and I was sitting there in survival mode, and
Mm,
I couldn't believe it myself.
mm,
I had the right guys around me. I had the right church. I had the right. I mean, I had good income. Things on the surface looked so good. I didn't want to rock the boat.
mm,
Okay, and I could tell the relationship was not only wrong, but the whole trajectory I was on was wrong. Okay,
mm,
and so it took some pretty hard weeks. And I mean, like, I'm not saying that the way I want to. For me, it was about a 6 week journey of
mm,
this wrong thing happening and this wrong thing happening
mm,
and this stacking of events to get to a point where I was like, I'm not me. People
mm,
could look at me and I was just coasting. I was not the energetic
mm,
person that I am, right? It had
mm,
completely changed me.
mm.
And it wasn't I wish there was this awesome, beautiful story you can make a movie about where some friend came to me and was like, oh my gosh. No, that didn't happen. Okay.
Yeah.
It was me sitting alone one day with pneumonia.
Oh.
I had been diagnosed with pneumonia. The doctor said one of my lungs was 60% full on the x-ray. I had no idea. I was coughing. I have some broken ribs from martial arts and some past stuff in my life. They're
Mm-hmm.
not broken now, but at that time, and if you've had broken ribs and you get pneumonia,
Mm-hmm.
it just sucks, right?
It's not a good thing.
Okay. So I couldn't lay down. I couldn't sit up. And I had a lot of time. I was forced to have
Mm,
that time to reflect. And it
mm,
was in those few weeks of healing, physically healing, where I said, look, I'm not being intentional. I'm not starting my day positive. I'm dreading who I'm with, what I'm doing, why I'm here. Nothing adds up.
mm,
And as soon as I got better, I was true to myself. I was very honest, very upfront, gave a lot of facts, kept it very personal, very much, hey, this is how I feel. And after a short period of about another 2 to 3 weeks, I ended that relationship.
mm,
And everything has been on a positive trajectory since.
mm,
So sadly, there was no external intervention. It was personal, but yes, I was being enormously not intentional.
mm. Well, I think though, again, there's parts of that that I feel like that's just a part of our journey. Like it's intentionally supposed to be that way
Yes.
without sounding cheesy here. But, because I think you have to get to a point where you are so uncomfortable, you know,
100%.
where you have a light squeeze on you and it gets a little harder, it gets a little harder, it gets a little harder. And then it's like, oh my God, if I don't change, if I don't get super intentional and dialed in about the way I want this to go, this is going to end bad for me.
Yeah.
So it's about stepping in and taking ownership, accountability, and control of the situation and going, you know what? If it's getting to that point, only me, only myself can change this.
Absolutely.
So you have to just,
It's not, we're not meant to live a life where we have like a council around us that
mm,
tell us how to live,
yeah,
right?
mm,
We are meant to do this life alone, but choosing a partner,
right.
right?
Yeah,
Instead of feeling the need, oh gosh, we could do an entire session on needing somebody versus wanting somebody.
yeah,
But you know where I'm going anyway with
yeah, yeah.
that.
Yeah, I just watched something today. Actually, it was a whole different side note here, but it was talking because I know I had a very bad relationship that ended a few years ago. That was my pivot point. And he was so fearful of being alone.
Oh,
And so that's why he always had a backup harem. And that's his journey. It's not my circus anymore.
oh man.
But anyway, there's a part of me that feels sorry for him because again, I think there are a lot of people, and I'm not judging this or saying I think I'm better than because I'm not like this at all, because I've been in not a good place, but I'm enlightened now on the fact that if you feel like you need someone, then you're not ready for any kind of a relationship with anybody because you have to become whole as yourself. Right. And this thing I watched, I can't remember his name. I follow him on TikTok. He's got this really long beard. He's really a cool guy. He's very bold. But he was talking about that exact thing, and that so many people are looking for happiness outside of themselves instead of just sometimes you've got to walk those walks alone for a while so that you can sort it out and become whole so that you can be a good partner for somebody else.
Can we stay on this for a moment?
Right. Yeah, please.
I think
I'm
we
single and
organically
50
got
and I
here. This is
can't stand it.
for the people that don't know. I'm looking at the list of questions. This is not on there, so we are off the reservation. But man, this is a good journey to go on. I love this topic. Okay,
Okay.
here's my little piece on it. Coming from a great place of depth with a lot of clients. So we as human beings are supposed to have partners. I think everybody generally understands this. And whatever
Mm-hmm.
partner means to you, that's your journey, as Abby said.
Mm-hmm.
What's important to realize is that how you define the word partner is no different than me saying at the very beginning of this podcast, when you wake up, put your feet down, stop there and exercise gratitude to start your routine, right?
Mm-hmm.
Words are important, and the words that we speak to ourselves are far more important than the words we say to anybody else. So if
100%.
that statement, if you'll at least agree with me on that statement,
100%.
listening to this, then associate that statement with how you define those words. Partner is a very important word. And if you've had a bad experience with business or whatever, somebody has harmed you from a partner perspective on a team, let's say, right?
Mm-hmm.
That can skew how you feel about other partners if you think of that word in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So I highly encourage guys all the time. I work with a lot of men that are either going through divorces or they're at a point where they want to get married. They feel like they've advanced enough in their life to get married. And guys, I plug this just for sake of making everybody happy, right? I'm not picking on one gender over another. I just happen to work with a lot of guys.
Right.
Okay. Typically, to Abby's past relationship, I find a lot of men don't want to be alone.
Mm.
In a group of guys, they'll be like, oh, of course, like I don't need anybody, blah, blah, blah. You get them one-on-one and they're like, well, dude, I need this girlfriend. Like this is just transitionary. She doesn't know, but this is transitionary until I find the right one.
Mm.
I will gut check them and I'll do it right here on this show.
Mm.
Stop now.
Mm.
Give yourself a timeline, be specific, but take a break. Realize it for what it is. When I worked in addiction therapy and I was a program director, I started a bunch of facilities that ran substance abuse programs out here in California. I'm currently helping a company launch one in Oregon. I'm not actively doing it anymore as far as boots on the ground. I just help them launch. Okay. When we talk to people about different addictions, whether it be sex addiction, gambling, drugs, alcohol, if it impedes your work, if it impedes your lifestyle, if it takes away your finances, if it slows you down at your work and your progression in life, and you need it, what is it?
Addiction.
We make it that simple, right? So if you're sitting here listening to this show going, gosh, hey, I have this person that's occupying my time right now, and I kind of like them, but they're not for me. I'm not going to marry this person, right?
Yeah.
Date for fun, interview for marriage. Separate
Mm.
conversation with that statement, right? Date for fun, interview for marriage. But be alone.
Mm-hmm.
Spend some time alone, please.
Mm.
And in that time alone, develop yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Be good at sitting there, finding things to do. Go to the movies by yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
My clients have come back with great stories about how they went on like Christmas Eve and watched a movie by themselves for the first time in their life at like 45.
Yeah.
And it was the best time. They got their snacks they wanted. They didn't have to worry about if the other person liked the time of the movie. They didn't have to worry about going to in-laws for Christmas Eve, right? Like, I'm not telling you to do this if you're married. If you're married, you've had your walk, okay?
You gotta
But if
go.
you're single, do it alone. It's
Yeah.
actually fun. So
Yeah.
feel free to take that, Abby.
Well, it's again, there's so many ways we can go with this, and I get a little ADHD going here, but I also think that, I joke a lot of times on Facebook about being single and that the stuff that just comes across my path. And this is for men and women. I know this to be true, but I am just like, are you freaking serious? So I've come to this conclusion, Dwight, and I feel real strong about what I'm getting ready to tell you. That I have so much that I'm getting ready to do in this next 18 months with my career, with my fitness business, with my mission to help other people. That gets me out of bed, spark, happiness, full joy, fulfilled, so happy and grateful for it. That I feel like, God, every time I get a little lonely, I'll get on the dating apps or I'll entertain a date with somebody. And then I'm like, oh, now I remember why I don't do this. But, but I feel like God is going, no, and I don't mean this the way it might be coming out. He's just not going to allow me anything that's a little tempting or distracting to derail me from where I'm going.
Yes.
So I think that the right person is out there for me. I believe that with all of my heart. I believe that they're going to show up right on time in divine timing. And right now, I'm totally fine with that. Like, I love my dogs. I love that I can independently take care of myself and pay my own bills and do whatever I want, eat my own stuff. Nobody's touching my food. I'm not washing a man's dirty underwear. My life's pretty freaking amazing. And a lot of the people I know, the women that I work with, they want to be me that are in
100%.
relationships because they're not in good relationships. So I've just learned I'm not fighting it anymore. The solitude, I'm embracing it and being grateful for it and going, thank you, God, for giving me this time, and filling my heart with joy and happiness that I don't have to have that. Well, eventually, of course, yes, I would like to find somebody like everybody would. Yeah. But during this transitional time of 3 years or so, I've learned so much and I've had just the most incredible amount of self-growth, a lot of pain, but through the healing of it and doing the right things to handle it, on the other side, I'm just like, this all makes sense. It's part of the journey. Like, I had to go through all that to get out of my own way because I wasn't living my life the way I should have been. So I'm like, I went through all those things intentionally by God or faith or whatever to get me to where I am today.
I love that story. That you do have a lot up and coming, and you've shared a little bit with me. I'll leave that for you to share later. But gosh, you deserve, guys. Just for listeners' sake, right? We all have a journey to walk, and women like Abby, and I'm sure you have a lot of female listeners. I will say this: when you have your stuff together, like Abby said, that look at her list. When she's got her mission, she's got her goals, she's happy, she enjoys her time with her dog, she pays her own bills. Needy men or men in a dark place in their life are going to be scared by women like you.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
They're either going to come into your life trying to assert control because they can't control themselves, or they're going to come in and run away. And this is where my heart breaks a little bit for single women that are successful women, especially like, you can be successful under 30, I know, but for my 30 plus people, right? I'm in that crowd and I'm not over 50 yet. So let's just keep it boxed in. Okay.
We'll welcome you to the club whenever you're ready.
For the successful women out there, it hurts a little bit, watching men try to come in and disrupt what you've done. And I encourage women all the time not to do this, through my church, through premarital counseling and stuff. It's like, hey, don't do this. Let yourself stay strong. What should be attractive is that level of independence, right? I think to my wife, she is a force at work. She's a force in her personal life. There's a lot of women that look up to her, and she's an introvert. She hates it. She doesn't want any of it, right? But when we got together, it was like, no, hey, you have your routine. You do this. And she was like, no, I'll kind of move in your direction. You were doing this. And my statement to people is this: I got attracted to you this way. Please stay this way. I'm not asking you to adjust anything. I liked this. Stay this.
Yeah.
Fair?
I love that. Because I think also, and I've seen illustrations of this that will explain it better than how I'm going to say it out loud. But also, when people aren't doing their own work, right? Because it sucks. It sucks going through that. It sucks going through the growth phase and, all that. And it's not rainbows and puppies and unicorns. I can tell you that. But a lot of times when people don't want to do the work to heal themselves, they're looking for happiness outside of themselves and stuff like that. When they see someone who has it together, They want some of that.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of going inwards and doing it themselves, they try to take it. And so I've seen that a lot, actually. And I'm like, you ain't getting none of this. Like,
Excellent.
no way am
Yeah.
I letting you interrupt my peace. Like, if you're not bringing something substantial, and I don't mean financially, I mean integrity, character, ambition, purpose, loyal, just a good freaking person. If you're not bringing that to the table, you can forget it. Like,
Yep.
I'll die alone with 1,000,000 dogs. I'm not lying. I swear to you, I will. and leave all my money to my son, and to the Humane Society. But I'm just saying that people want what other people have, and instead of doing the work to get it themselves, because it's out for everybody. Everybody can do
Mm-hmm.
it. It's just, that's what I've noticed at age 50 plus, like in this age group, a lot of people, like we said, have always by this time in your life had some kind of trauma, disappointment, heartbreak. They just don't want to do the work. They want to numb it, or they want to find somebody else to fix it.
You know, put that same spin, Abby, onto relationships. When you look at somebody at your work, this might sting some people, so please buckle up and get ready, okay?
Mm-hmm.
When you look at the person that may be giving you what you know to be extra attention at the gym, at work, in your social circle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you are in a healthy relationship. So this is where people need to buckle up, right?
Mm-hmm.
My wife and I talk about it, and we talk about it with couples that we mentor. We call it threats at the door.
Mm-hmm.
To Abby's point right now, this happens to relationships as much as it happens to single people.
Mm-hmm.
You will have another person in a relationship that is wrong for them, seeing what you're doing in your relationship and go, if I just had him, if I just had her, my life would be better. No, you are going to take the same toxicity that you're living in right now and bring it to a happy person, right?
100%.
And happy couples need to be aware of that and have a boundary to where we can mentor those people. We can have a conversation with a person in a toxic relationship, not let it get out of hand, not cross boundaries, actually help them. But we don't often do that. We often let them into our world, into our area, and that becomes the threat at the door. And it happens so smoothly, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, hey, if that's already happening in your life, gut check yourself. Set the boundary, help the person, don't let the person in.
Right. Yeah. Here's a good book. Bye.
Yes.
That's kind of where
Yes.
I'm at. I'm not wasting any time. I work all the time now, and I'm not wasting my time. I'm just not. I
Yep.
don't mean to sound bitter, but
No, you're not.
after enough episodes, you just get, I mean, I swear to God, I get stuff on my phone, and like most women do, and I'll just be like, you freaking kidding me? Like, oh my God. Bye. But anyway, we'll save the dating show for another episode. But but I think it's important to talk about, because being intentional about setting your boundaries and knowing your worth, and not just letting anybody come in and do that kind of stuff. It's important to talk about.
Yeah, drama. If you have drama in your life, this also can sting some people. You can kind of gather, guys, that listening of what my therapy style is. I don't hold back, and I'm not a hand holder. Okay, but I'll give you a statement that you can rattle around and mull over here. Drama gets into your life only two ways: you either create it or you invite it in. So if you have drama in your life right now, you have created it or you have invited it. There is no other option, right?
Yeah.
So gut check that, analyze
Yeah.
that, and then
I
plan
like
to
that.
remove it.
I like that. That is super powerful. So if you have drama in your life right now, you either created it or you invited it in.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
You can invite it out.
Yeah. Say that out loud 3 times and go, oh, shit. All right. So we've covered a lot of ground, but I want to kind of dial back into intentionality. So if somebody's wanting to get more intentional, what are 3 small practical shifts someone could do today to start living with more intention? I know we talked about gratitude and, not letting news in and stuff like that, but what are 3 small practical shifts that someone could do to set themselves more on the path of intentionality?
Sure. I think it comes from each day you can endeavor to make another small, I call them micro goals. Make a micro goal for yourself every day. So something you can start with today. You could be listening to this show and go, gosh, I wanted a tool. Here's your tool. Make a micro goal for today. Don't wait till tomorrow. I don't care if you listen to this at 10 o'clock at night, right? You have 2 hours left.
Mm,
Make a goal, right? And micro goals, guys, I want to be very specific in giving examples. You have to determine this for yourself, but here's my examples, right? Something as simple as, okay, I haven't had fresh vegetables in months, and I know this. I'm going to have a fresh vegetable today,
mm,
okay? Whether it's a salad or a carrot, it doesn't matter. Another micro goal that's not food related. Keep it as simple as this. Gosh, I don't know the last time that I drank an entire bottle of water in one sitting. I'm going to
mm,
drink a bottle of water, or
mm,
I'm going to do 5 push-ups before I go to bed, right?
mm.
Uh, there's so many micro goals you can set. So first tool, make a micro goal and complete it.
Mm.
I'll give you a reason why this makes sense psychologically before I give you tool number two.
Okay.
For a period of time in my life in the Army, I was injured and I had to quote unquote earn my pay while I was injured still because I had a pretty high position. So I kind of became a range master. I was teaching soldiers how to shoot. If you're anti-gun, it's okay. I was in the military. Okay, so
Right.
work with me. What I would find is that people that were really struggling, they would struggle with the click bang, right? Squeeze bang.
Mm,
We would take them and put them at a 5 or 10 meter target. Okay. And
okay.
this could be with their rifle, as crazy as that sounds. And I know I was a bit unorthodox. There were people in the Army that were like, what are you doing with these rifles at 10 meters? Normally the closest you shoot is like 50 meters. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So we would do this and they would perfectly hit. Of course, like you've got a long gun and it's 10 meters away from you. Like that's not far, right?
Right.
So you would hit it and hit it and hit it. Now you get them out there in the same position and you have them shoot it at 25 meters and they hit it, 50 meters, hit it. What you're doing is you're showing them that the mechanics of the shot don't change. In fact, the target doesn't change. Your eyesight just simply sees it smaller.
Oh my gosh, I
So
love
don't
this
change the
story.
mechanics,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So if you set a micro goal of I'm going to eat a fresh vegetable today, I don't want to always make it about food. I'm just picking this, okay?
Yeah, sure.
So you do it. So tomorrow you probably bought a bag of those vegetables, have another one, right? And each day it doesn't become incremental, it becomes habitual, right?
Right.
And you're forming these good habits. So that's one thing you can do starting today, set a micro goal and complete it. A second tool, this one is near and dear to my heart, sleep. People can say to me all their different variations of sleep.
Mm,
And there's lots of reasons. And I know we could go into a big thing on this, right? An intentional thing you can do today is set a structured time for
mm-hmm.
bed,
Yep.
right? Be specific, be intentional, and do it. I know you could say, well, that's going to be my micro goal. No, I say make two separate things. Make a micro goal and set a sleep bedtime,
Mm.
right? People that have structured bedtimes, you can do academic studies, you can read EDD work, Doctors of Education, right? They'll tell you test performance, lower testing anxiety if that's you, and also people that just simply retain more information have structured sleep patterns.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's the second thing. You can start right now today. You can make your bedtime. A third thing, cardiologist friend of mine, really good doctor I've worked with throughout different points of my life, not as a patient, but as a colleague. He said to me something a couple weeks ago. We were talking to him about potentially helping us with a project at Epinol. And he said, look, I would love to be out of business. He goes, I'd love to retire tomorrow from my specialty. I would just simply go do another specialty. He goes, I believe wholeheartedly I could retire from cardiology if we could get every American to go out and walk 30 minutes a day.
Mm,
If we could just get them to walk 30 minutes a day, all the other things in life would fall into place.
mm.
But fitness begets fitness, health begets health, right? And you could go down this road, right? It's really hard to want to go eat at a fast food place if you just ran 2 miles.
Right.
So he just wants you to walk 30 minutes a day. So I think a very intentional step you could take, whether it be a treadmill, if you're in a cold weather state or a rainy state, hey, I get it, right? If it's just walking around your block, It doesn't have to be a mile, just the time. Get the heart rate at 120 or above, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're not trying to get you to 160. We're not talking about macro levels. That's Abby's world. She can coach you on that later, okay? So 3 things you can do today. Micro goal and complete it. Start setting one every day and get it done. You'll feel better. That's your 5-10 meter shot, okay?
I love that.
A set bedtime, and then ultimately 30 minutes of some type of walking a day to get the blood flowing and keep the systems going.
Absolutely. I love that so much. Those are 3 powerful things that people can do right away. All of them. You could go a million directions with that too and expand on it so much because I believe in all of them 100%. Do you think it's helpful for the people to, with the micro goals, to write them down?
So I do a lot of visualization with clients. So the answer is yes. Do you want
Okay.
more? More than yes.
Yeah, expand on it. I mean, because
Okay.
I think that I feel like it's super powerful to write stuff down because it's like you're actually speaking it into existence. You're putting it down. You can say it out loud, whatever. But, and also I think if you wrote down one little micro goal for each week and then you crossed it off and check marked it after you completed it, you'd have that sense of accomplishment, right?
Yeah, you get a little dopamine release knowing it's
Yeah.
done, right? So here's when I say visualizations, this is what I work a lot of clients through. Take your single micro goal, write it on a post-it or a piece of paper, and put it on the mirror in which you get ready.
Mm,
Write it also and put, if you drive a car, if that's part of your life, because we have different states where different people walk or whatever. If you drive a car, put it on your dash. So
mm,
have it on your mirror and your dash.
mm.
Put it on your phone if you live on your phone. Make it the background to your phone. Go
Ooh,
bold.
I love
Okay. So
that.
you see it every time you're on.
Yeah.
When you go to check it off, take the paper off, throw it away, do a check mark, whatever works for you to get that little singular dopamine release, right?
Mm,
These little things matter.
mm-hmm.
So I've had clients do a three goal list and it sits on their mirror, it sits in their car, and they see it every day and they don't check it off because they're doing it as they look at it. This could be a simple thing like affirming themselves in the mirror, an exercise in gratitude, 15 push-ups, whatever it is, right? This is that works, and those visualizations are powerful.
Oh God, they're huge. I actually talk about this in my book, Your Breakthrough Era, which is going to be out any day now.
Looking forward to
Um,
it.
there's a whole chapter on visualization. But it's also about celebrating the small wins. So,
Yes.
because I think we go through life, a lot of people that beat themselves up on a daily basis about, oh, I was supposed to do this, or I was supposed to do that, or I feel bad. I should have called my mom today, or, I should have done this. We're so busy having negative self-talk, stinking thinking, that we forgo the celebration of what we did right, you know? So I think, checking off a good microdose, just one a day, is a very doable thing for everybody, no matter how busy your schedule is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as we're wrapping up here, Dwight, what advice would you give to someone who feels like they're just going through life on total autopilot cycle with zero intention at all? Because I think, again, life is so hard. We're so freaking busy. Sometimes we just go into survival mode. Like if we get to the end of the day and we're like, I didn't kill anybody. Everybody's still alive. I fed everybody. Success. So I think that if people could snap out of that autopilot mode, so many people's eyes would be really open wide. So what advice would you give to somebody who feels like that's just how they're living and like they don't think they can get out of it?
Be disruptive to yourself. I'll give you a simple and practical application. If you live in a big building and the last time your bare feet touched the grass was when you were a kid, this is just an example.
Mm,
Go to a park, take your shoes and socks off, and walk around in the grass.
earthing.
Make yourself do something different today. When you listen to this podcast, end it by doing something disruptive to who you have been in that stagnation. Whatever
Mm,
that means. A cold shower, walking barefoot, going out standing in the rain. Be disruptive and watch how your body responds.
I love that. You just have to shake stuff up a little,
You
break the
do.
routines that a lot of times aren't serving you.
Yeah. I had a woman working with me once that the story was, I feel confident in saying her story was just sad. She had
Mm,
three kids. Her routine, I may be speaking to somebody, one of your listeners right now with their life
mm,
at this moment.
mm,
Three
mm-hmm.
kids. She worked a job, get up, get the kids ready. Husband would take one kid, she'd take the other two, drop them off, go crush it at work, come home, take apart the backpacks, make the lunches, make a dinner. Sometimes her husband would make dinner. They had equitable share of work and they had a happy marriage. She would go from January to August and go, holy crap, it's almost Christmas. How did we get
Yeah.
here? Like, where did the
Yeah.
last 8 months go? Right. And she was like, I don't know how to be disruptive. That you keep telling me these tools and I go home trying to do them and I can't put them in my schedule. We came up with a simple solution.
Mm,
Drive a different way home.
mm,
I told her you know your routine. You're so comfortable. Drive a different way home. Stop and park somewhere for 30 seconds. Your kids will be okay. Like they can sit
yeah.
in the back seat, right?
Yeah.
Stop, look at something new.
Yeah.
This is a change of your routine. What
Yeah.
ultimately happened, fast forward the story because I know we're wrapping. Her after a couple of weeks of working with her, this is a couple of years ago, or a few actually, this is pre-COVID, so it was many years ago. What happened is she went down a certain street where she ended up seeing a person she hadn't seen since high school. They happened to live there. She rolled down her window. They connected. Turns out that girl's in a women's Bible study. It's like a wine Bible study thing that she goes to once every other week. She told her husband, watch the kids, da da da. Fast forward, right? She made a friend, reconnected with somebody, ended up making more friends, got plugged in with a group of women. Things changed for her. Why? Because she drove one different street,
Mm,
right? Be
yeah.
disruptive to yourself. That's how you get out of your way.
I love that. I love that so much. And I think that does speak to a lot of people. I
I
really
hope
do.
so.
I really, really do. Well, Dwight, my gosh, you are incredible. I mean, we could do a million episodes, and still have more to go. So I can't thank you enough for sharing all your wisdom, your expertise, all your knowledge and inspiration for all the listeners out there. And what's next as we close here? What's next on the horizon for you?
Guys, super quick plug here, shameless plug, if you will.
Do it.
Ethanol is developing the world's first ever um, multi-drug portable breath sensing technology. This is a
Oh,
breathalyzer for narcotics.
oh,
Many have
wow.
tried. We had several people competing in this space, and I don't mind saying it publicly. They've all failed. You can look them up. You can see they're closed. Our
Wow.
technology is different. We have finished the science. We are now working on the development of the breath collection. So what's next for me is a product launch of international capability and magnitude, right? Abby,
Wow.
I have done many things. I have never done something like this to this size and scale.
Wow.
Okay. We're going to be launching the product in America, hopefully, God willing, by end of this year. And when it goes public in America, and it won't have FDA approval yet, it won't have all those things. It can't because it's new science. It's
Right.
literally a technology that doesn't exist, right?
Right.
So we'll have to then get field trials and so on. So we are praying and hoping and goal setting for end of year field trials, right, with different university partners we're trying to make. From there, it's going to be an international launch in 26, a private company, not public, and it's going to soar. So getting
Wow.
this off the ground has been my heaviest lift of my life.
How long has it been in formation?
The R&D just is about to hit 8 years. Okay.
Wow. Long
Other
time.
companies have spent, oh, I kid you not, other companies haven't had investors spend over $100 million on this. They're trying to make this product. We have kept it under 10 million, 7
Wow.
years, specific scientists working on specific technology, which I can't talk about that yet. It's
Right.
patented, but I can't release that yet. But how we've done it is just incredible. And being able to prove the science was a year ago. So I've only been with them now for about 18 months or so. And in that time period, we've really seen the futurization of this product, the commercialization of this product roadmap is there now. So that's what's
Wow.
ahead for me.
That's super exciting. There's always something new to look forward to, right?
Yeah.
Well, congratulations on that. And again, thank you so much. And for the listeners, I'll put your social media links if that's okay for them to follow you. You put some real positive stuff out there. So if they want to follow you or learn information, they'll have access to you, if that's okay.
Yes, and this meant a lot, Abby. We've chatted before this offline for fun, and this was a really cool invite. I was very happy to be part of this show. You do great work, and the people that follow you are certainly benefiting from what you do. So thank you, Abby.
Thank you. I'm very grateful for that. I appreciate that so much. Send me the invoice for that nice little comment. Well, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the Your Fitness Chick podcast. As always, I'm here to inspire, uplift, educate, and motivate you to become your best self. Remember that to be intentional, you have to get intentional. Make it a great week, and I'll see you here next week for a new episode. Hey, it's Abby, your fitness chick. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. Your support means the world to me and allows me to keep creating inspiring content just like this. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button so we can stay connected and motivated all week long. You can find me on all my social media platforms. Links are in the show notes, and be sure to visit my website at www.yourfitnesschick.com for more resources to help you crush your goals. A huge thank you to you, my listeners. You inspire me every single day. I'll catch you in the next episode.